I'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity podcast with pastors. And do you hear my voice now? Do you hear my voice now is an interesting. Um, I'd say they're an organization, but they're not. Like there's a book out there. There's a couple books I'll reference, and if you're a pastor, I would read these. One for sure. One for sure is I would read. Um, Why Men Hate Going to Church. I would read that um, because it will help you as a pastor to understand so many things, like so many crazy things. Like it's like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. So your ministry and everything else will just be helped like crazy. Understanding personalities, understanding personalities. And if somebody could take notes, I don't know, maybe like, so we have, the book to go ahead and recommend. So why men hate going to church? And then another book is The Starfish and the Spider. So now as a pastor, you might be saying, why is he sharing this with me? So my dad, he was a pastor with the GRBC, General Association of Regular Baptist Churches, his whole adult life. Like, and started a number of church in the GRBC. GRBC, General Association of Regular Baptists, very, very conservative strain. Like, you definitely, you don't go ahead and watch movies. That's in the Constitution. You got to sign. You don't watch movies. Don't go to movies. Um, and you don't go to any Billy Graham crusades. You definitely don't do that. And so there's a lot of, you don't do these things. So very, very conservative Baptist. It's how I was raised. That's what I actually went to a church until I was 40, 3 times a week, like for 40 years, like all the time. When we were on vacation, we went to church. And, not saying anything about, certain other groups, like when we went on vacation, you still went to church. Like you just even Wednesday night. It's like really like we were hardcore. Um, and so in preparing for this podcast, didn't know the angle, like so the Bible is pretty clear that you go ahead and point out names. Like if you read in the Bible, there's a whole bunch of things they name names. Paul named names like, hey, you're an issue to me. Like name names, right? To call it out. So I'd actually prefer not to call anything out, honestly, because I would like I would like for all of you who are listening to this, wonder if this is you. Like like I could be somebody in your congregation. And this isn't just for pastors. Like it's not. Like for sure it's not. And if you're, not a pastor and you go to some church, like my guess is you will not pass this along to your pastor. Like I won't mention which church we're going to now because don't want any issues. But it's so fascinating. It's a large church, a lot of pastors, and they all get up and talk about how safe they want it to be. I don't feel safe in that church. I don't feel safe in passing this along. My wife and my kids, they're not going to pass this along to any of the pastors for sure. And I get it. So it's like, my heart goes out to pastors. So my dad was a pastor. My youngest brother was a pastor. I have uncles who are pastors, a lot of pastors in the families. And I feel bad for pastors. I do. I have this huge heart for pastors. But I have a little bit different take on it than maybe pastors do. Because I was a pastor's kid. I mean, I saw what my dad went through. And he struggled with depression. Like he struggled with depression towards the, you know, latter years. And so there's so much like John Greening, the president of, of the GRBC, my dad, when I was, I don't know, in my 20s or 30s. So I'm giving you context So you understand, Mark's not angry. He's not angry. His heart is just, I don't know, broken or bruised because I, I grew up Baptist, so you can't have any superpowers like empathy. So I can feel what it's like being a pastor. I can feel what it's like being a pastor's wife. Oh my goodness. My mom and the abuse she took in the church from the good church women, the deacons' wives. You got to be kidding. Like, what? How does this happen? One is, how did my dad let it happen? And two is, how did all the deacons let their wives mistreat my mom like that? Really, guys? Like, you're goofballs. You just are. That would be another, you know, song, goofball song. So this is a song that I wrote with Nora and Ginger Ann, our oldest daughter. And it's not just for husbands. Like, there's some wives. I think there's a lot more husbands out there that are goofballs. And the reason we use goofballs is because you don't want to use the other language. But there's a lot of pastors out there, and unfortunately, you don't know who you are. Like, you just don't. You poor person. Like, and so I don't know how to help you all understand my heart. And especially if you're serving past. If you used to be a pastor, now you're serving them. Like, oh my goodness, don't even get me going there. Like I kind of feel like pastors are like women. Now, again, if you have a bad opinion of women, you're going to be like, how dare he say that? Like, what did he's calling us women? You obviously don't have a strong opinion of women. Like, you obviously think something poorly of women. So you're not thinking, like, if somebody compares me, Mark, you're like a woman. I'm like, right? Isn't that cool? What a beautiful thing. So if you can tell, I'm a bit nervous, and I'm an international speaker and author. I get up in front of hundreds, thousands of people. I'm fine. But this one has me a little bit. So, when in the starfish and the fighter, a spider. So this is cool. Like, when you cut a starfish in half, or when you cut a spider in half, what's the difference between a starfish and a spider? Like, when you cut a spider in half, what happened? You get a dead spider. Um, this is good. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait. When you cut a starfish in half, what do you get? You get two starfish. Like, they regenerate. It's really cool. And so it's called a leaderless organization. This is not the concept of the church today. The church today, no, 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 no. Like, so the thing is you're not, fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know what it is. My grandfather, he died when I was 8 years old or 9 years old. He told me something once in my life. This actually goes back. You guys can direct me on this because you can see I'm trying to dance around it, try not to get to it because I don't want to get to don't want to get to the real meat of the topic, like being like Esther. And um, so when I was 8 years old, I was at Camp Fairwood in Wisconsin. I was out by the canteen. And being a good Baptist, God never talks to you. Like, he can't talk to you. Like, but somehow he did. Somehow God talked to me at 8. So that was 53 years ago. And I remember it today. I mean, it's like I'm just standing there eating a snack. Sorry, don't remember what snack it is. For some of you, that's going to be important and give legitimacy to the story. I'm being honest, though. I don't know what snack, but I was eating a snack. And I don't know, all out of nowhere, God's like, Mark, like Samuel. I was like, yes, God. Like, like, Mark, you're an average to below average kid. I'm like, okay, I get that. Like my oldest brother, not to give anything away, my oldest brother, he's a CPA. He's smart. Like, like his friend Rob once told him, Vern, you're smart and important because he's a CPA. Obviously, he's smart and important. And my youngest sister, she's a medical doctor. And so there's, I have three brothers and two sisters. And so I'm the second oldest. And so God said to me, he's like, Mark, you're average to below average at 8 years old. And I got it. I'm like, yeah, I'm just an average kid, really below average. I think the average was a gift that God gave me. Like, I'm not gonna just destroy the poor 8 year old. Like, you're average. I think it's more below average. Like I struggle, you know, um, you know, yeah, I struggle in school, struggle in a lot of things. Just not very smart. Just not. God told me that. And I appreciate that God being honest. Like, at least somebody's honest. And so, and then he said to me, he said, Mark, if you're a good steward with what I give you, you'll impact the entire world. 8 years old. Told me once. So I think as a parent, right? It's hard. How do you teach your kids humility and how do you go ahead and teach them confidence, right? Like you want them to have confidence because they need confidence in life, but you want to teach them humility too, like both of those things. And so God did, like 8 years old, taught me humility. Mark, don't ever forget, you're no better than anybody else, and you're probably worse. And I got that at 8. It's weird. My youngest brother, he's a pastor. He'll come up in this conversation a few times, probably. He's such a, let's say, an interesting guy. And he said a few years ago, he's like, Mark, have you ever thought that it wasn't God speaking to you? I'm like, okay. So after God told me that, like, that's pretty cool, right? You're an 8 year old, you're average below average. I get that. And then you're going to impact the entire world if you're a good steward. Pretty simple, right? And so what do? I go back to eating my treat. Like you're 8, you know? My grandfather said when I was 8, right in that same time frame, he said, Mark, when somebody says something to you, there's some amount of truth. Could be 1% or 99%. It's not up to them to tell you what percentage or what to do with it. It's up to you. He told me that once, and then he died when I was 9. His personality, I probably only saw him 5 times in my life because we weren't local and didn't have internet or any of that kind of stuff back then. And so I probably only saw him 5 times in my life. When I turned 40, a lot of things happened when I turned 40. Like a lot of things happened. A lot of things happened. Like I did a 40-day fast. That was interesting. I got kicked out of my dad's church. So that was interesting. We had just gone through 3 miscarriages. So that was hard. I cried out to God and said, God, I beg you, I plead with you. Like I even used the Abba Father thing. like, like I beg, plead with you to give me a year of rest. That didn't happen. The opposite happened. Like, really, God? Like Jim Bontrager, good friend of mine, he says, God, this is why nobody likes you. So, um, anyways, my brain is going all over the place. So I'm trying to, you know, so my grandfather, I was at my cousin's funeral a few years ago, and my uncle went ahead and, he knew my grandfather. And he says, yeah, I would not have wanted your grandfather in my congregation. So pastors, honestly, they just don't like me. And what's most frustrating to a pastor is I don't care. Sorry, not to be like I have social autism, so I got to catch me. I'm working on my TAT. So let me try to, sorry, erase that, go back. And liking you, like there's 8 billion people on the planet, right? Like, and you're not the center of the universe. Like my grandkids, when they're 2 and 3 years old, they think they're the center of the universe. I get it. They're 2, 3. But in the book, Why Men Hate Going to Church, they talk about how pastors tend to be analytic, amiable personalities. My dad was, Pastor Dale Williams was. My brother, you know, he was not. He was more of an expressive, and so he lasted 10 years as a pastor. Some might say that was too long. I'm not saying it. I'm just saying some might say that was too long. I don't know. Um, and so, um, so my heart, if somebody were to say, so why, like you've been through a lot, pastors have put you through a lot, right? Like and they have really hurt. Like I'm a warrior. I expect to get shot in the back, even from friends, right? Right? Like the church and pastors and Christians. Like I'm supposed to feel safe. I don't feel safe. I do not feel safe. Just don't. If you're a pastor and you think, oh, Park would feel safe in my church, would I? I mean, our pastor is fascinating. It's just interesting. It's just like really? So he gets up in front, and there's a lot of people in our church. They have three services. I mean, it's a big church, pretty big church. And he gets up and he says he's going to a pastor's conference. And he's like, yeah, they're all full of ego. I'm like, what? Like, yeah, they talk about how big's your church and how's this and this and this. Oh, you mean like boys? like, like how big's your car, the engine in your car? Like, and he's mocking them. And everybody laughs. And I just sit back and I just think, is he going to tell them this? I mean, it's recorded so anybody can see it. Is he going to do anything about it? Do you think that might be a problem? Do you think that might be a problem? Like, like, you know, pastors who have a bunch of ego? Because when you have ego, you have jealousy. So fortunately or unfortunately, there's a high probability that you as a pastor don't have somebody like me in your church. You just don't. The chances of that, are very slim. But good news if you do, they've learned, you've taught them and everybody else has taught them, don't say anything. Don't like Ezekiel. Don't be a watchman. I mean, God called you to be able to see things that, pastors can't see. I don't know why they can't see. It's just weird to me. It's like, how can you not see this? Like, how can you not see this? But I have a special gift. I have a special gift that I can see things that other people, it's not weird. It's just, I don't know. I don't have to worry about, you liking me. So I can see things because I'm not, like, hey, you don't like me. That's not the first, you won't be the first time my wife doesn't. My 7 kids don't like me. And there's times my 10 grandchildren. I could tell you stories about that when they were 3-year-old twins. And I don't like you, Grandpa. Okay. I like Grandma more than you. Okay. Like it's just strange. So my dad, when I was in my 20s, early 30s, he said, Mark, I think it'd be good for you to go talk to John Greening, who's the president of the GRBC. And if you're part of the GRBC, my heart goes out to you. My dad invested his entire life into the GRBC. And the GRBC is dying. Just just is. Just is. And it just is. And I think I know why. But anyways, so I'm like, why? He's like, I think John would understand you. I'm like, okay. So I call, Mr. Greening up. I said, hey, Mr. Greening, this is Mark Boersma. I'm Ralph Boersma's, son. Ooh, was I not supposed to say my last name? Sorry. I don't know if that, whatever. It's fine. Maybe. And so so I said, hey, this is Ralph Boersma's son, and he mentioned that it might be good for me to come talk to you because you might understand me. And he's like, he's like, yeah, no, yeah, great. Yeah, come on over. We'll talk. So I go meet him. And again, imagine yourself, let's say, I don't know, let's say I'm 32 years old. And so So you imagine when you were 32. Now, some of you are younger than that, so you can't imagine that. I mean, I don't know. But if you're older than 32, you can think back when you're 32. So pretty young. I mean, and I go there and I sit down, and I mean, within 5 minutes, within 5 minutes, he he goes and says to me, he says, "Yeah, Mark, the GRBC, they don't keep people like you." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, we don't keep people like you." I'm like, "Why not?" Like, I'm 32. I'm going there for, I don't know, wisdom and understanding. My dad kind of knew that, I don't know, that he might understand me. Then he tells me this. Like, what's a 32-year-old supposed to do? Right? Fortunately, I have social autism, so I'm like, whatever. Like, I'm not like you. Like, especially if you're a pastor, I'm just not like you. And that's okay. It's not good or it's not bad. I'm not better than you. For sure, I'm not better. For sure, I'm not better. I want to emphasize that clearly. Clearly. I could tell you things that, anyways. So I said, what do you mean? He says, the GRBC doesn't have vision. You have vision. You have big, big vision. I'm like, okay. Now, what's interesting is he's the president of the GRBC. He says we don't have vision. Is that not like it says in the Bible, without a vision, the people perish? Like, you'd think he'd embrace me. He did nothing wrong. I appreciate it. It was really cool. And I'm like, huh. He said the reason we keep people like you, Mark, is because, because you value the Bible and you value the teaching that it gives your children. And that's why we keep you as long as we do. And it was prophecy. 8 years later, Emmanuel Baptist Church, the church that my dad started, Dale Williams and Ken Boersma, my brother, um, they went ahead and they kicked me out of the church, not for stealing, not for an affair, not for drinking, not for any of that. They kicked me out of the church because I confronted them about things they did not like being confronted about. Like, pastors, they do not like, they do not like when when you say things they don't like said. They just don't. It's weird how wacky they get. Like, just, and what's interesting is, so I got kicked out when I was 40 of the church for applying Matthew 18. Like, read the document that's somewhere around here. I mean, it's Matthew 18 is pretty clear. This is what you do. My dad created a constitution. They use my dad's constitution to trump the Bible, which is just fascinating. Like, fascinating. Like, it's interesting. We'll get into this in the next podcast.
What?
Go ahead.
Why do people do that?
Right? Like, it's just, I think it's fear, Kenny. I think it's fear. I think fear and jealousy, ego.
Fear of jealousy. Okay.
Well, it's jealousy. Like, I don't think, like my dad, bless his heart, right? God rest his soul. Like, he said he was never called to be a pastor. He never felt God's calling to be a fat pastor. Like, I felt my calling to be a business guy very clearly. Very, like, Mark, this is what your calling is. You are built and wired to be in business. Even though my three brothers have said to me, Mark, you're more of a pastor than you are a business guy. Like, I don't take offense by that. There's a lot of good things that pastors do. It's weird. You can say 9 good things about a pastor, and if you say one thing, I mean, they're fragile. You just are. Admit it. It's like police officers. Like, it's like accountants. It's like any type of group of people that are amiables and analytics that all cluster together. They need one another to build their strength. They can't stand on their own. I'm just saying, they cluster together and they protect the ones that harm people. It just is. I mean, if you don't
It's,
say that,
it's like somebody's said told me when like I also had a question for I don't know, it was a pastor, maybe yeah, a bishop. Let's call him a bishop. Asked him a question, and they said, "Yeah, it probably won't work for me because I'm too old and I know too much." It's like so there needs to be some ignorance for people to join a church or this church. I'm like, I don't that makes no sense.
it's it's fascinating. It's fascinating, and as you get older, you start seeing this is not just an issue with the Baptist.
Right.
Like, and this is where like do you hear my voice now? There's some great stuff in there, and they're not like an organization. They're not nonprofit. They're not a 501. There's no membership list. It's a whole bunch of people that are individuals. Like they're all individuals, and so you have them in your church now. You don't know who they are because they're ghosts. they they see things, but so you don't know. They're not going to come up and say, "Hey, I'm part of Do You Hear My Voice Now?" They're not going to say that. They're just not. So like nobody knows anybody else, or it's like a leaderless organization. And so there's two videos here you got to watch. And so this is Bonhoeffer. He's a pastor. Listen to him. Like listen to him. Like, and it's the theory of stupidity. And then try to internalize it. Don't go ahead and look at other people. Look at the mirror, like Men in the Mirror. Like that's a good godly book, right? But why don't pastors, like when there's good in the church, they often look in the mirror. When there's bad, they look out the window. The opposite of what Men in the Mirror are saying. Like it's just weird. And then it's not about the nail in your head. Like it actually is about the nail. And if you're a pastor, you're probably a man. You could be a woman, and it's okay. I don't know. But anyways, if you're a man and you look at this, if you look at this video about the nail, Jim Bontrager, he gave me this. Man, cool guy, like him a lot, and he went ahead, and it's like if you're a man and you watch this, what you're thinking is, well, this is how women are, and you're laughing, and the women are laughing too, but they're laughing a lot at you as a man because they're like, yeah, we've got nails in our head. We acknowledge that. We do. We do. But we're not going to tell you about the nails in your head because of your ego. So as a pastor, nobody's going to tell you. They just won't. You think they do, but they don't. Like they just don't. Like I know hundreds of pastors, and I know people who minister to pastors, thousands of pastors. I mean, some world leaders, and they know thousands of pastors around. And I can't get one pastor to go ahead and do a pod. Not one. They're all terrified. They're like chihuahuas. Yep. No, if you're a pastor and you'd like to do there's got to be a pastor out there that has the courage to go ahead and get on, but they don't. And I get it. I understand because you don't want to go ahead and turn against the other pastors. You can say it in front of, I don't know, 1,500 people on how goofballs all the pastors are, but what? I don't know. But are you going to confront them? Are you going to put it on a wider, bigger platform where more and more pastors can go ahead and, like, I'm not going to put our pastor in a bad situation and and say things that I see. I'm not going to do that. I mean, and so it's just strange. Like when you get into this stuff, you're just like, really? So my kids, they have been hurt. My wife, oh my goodness. The damage that pastors and churches have done to her is beyond. And I don't know what to do as a husband. I don't know what to do to help her to heal. But people, when they hear my story, and you'll hear my story in future podcasts if you continue, but you're going to be like, that can't happen. It can't be true. There must be another part of the story. But this is one thing. This is one thing that the people who are abusive, spiritual abuse, the people They are terrified of the truth getting out. So what they do is they're like moles. They just go underneath. And we have some property where we have moles. And I've got something that takes care of those moles. And it's sad, but they're hurting other people or they're not healed themselves. They're so wounded, so damaged. And so my heart is that this gets out to every pastor in the world. So send it to your pastor anonymously. Like, you don't have to tell them who's sending it. I don't know. Print out a QR code or something and send it. Say, hey, this might be helpful. Like, right. But they're so nervous. They're afraid. There's so much fear. It's like, have they not internalized God and God's love? They get up every single Sunday and they preach about it. My dad did the same thing. That guy had a lot of arrogance. He really did. Like, he really did. Like, the stories I could tell. So, anyways, I don't know this. I don't know how long I can go ahead and avoid going into it, but I like my heart. It's not retribution and it's not vindictive. I just hurt. I just hurt for the pastors. I hurt for their wives. My mom was a pastor's wife and I love her like crazy. And she went ahead and grew up my grandfather, Grandpa Nincyhauser, he was a pastor. My mom just adore her, just absolutely adore that woman. Like, she was strong, unbelievable, like unbelievable. So hopefully this was a good warm up and we'll see if we get into the meat of it. But I mean, don't judge. I mean, you can judge my heart if you want. It's fine. But it's probably if you're thinking, like, if you're thinking he's out to get somebody, I'm not. And I'm not angry. I'm just sad. I just hurt. Because I see the future maybe beyond death. I don't know. That'd be weird for a Baptist to do that. But it's like it's just crazy. So if you go ahead and think, dang, he's out for retribution. I'm not. I'm just not. I don't have to do this. I really don't. So there's a number of different things that happened in the last month or so that have been building up to say, Mark, you need to do this. I'm like, do I? Because nothing's good going to come from it. And maybe my wife and kids will get more hurt. Like, nobody's going to get it. Nobody's going to. And so they always hurt the ones that have been hurt. So, if you have any questions on this, connect with the individual who passed this along to you. Pass this along to other people. Like, my heart is that there's nobody's wife and family and kids go through what mine did. I am a warrior. You know what? I'm fine. This is what God's put me on this planet to do. But my wife and kids, they don't deserve this. And my grandkids, they don't deserve this. So you know what? You as a pastor, as a church, or as the whole GRBC, like, you can come after me and you can do anything you want to me, and I'll probably just sit there and take it like Jesus did. Just get crucified on the cross. But it's fascinating, isn't it? Like they talk about in the Bible about judgment and who's the one judging us in the end times? It's Jesus, the one who's crucified. Like, so I don't know, but I am getting a little bit more like, you know what? You go ahead and hurt women and you hurt children, you hurt families. You know what? Might have something to say about that. Might have something to call you up, because I can tell you the biggest fear of the self-righteous abuser, biggest fear that they have is exposure. Bar none. bar none. They fear being exposed. And so there's probably a few pastors out there, probably a few, spiritual leaders out there and people that are serving pastors, and they're like, dang, I hope he doesn't use my name. I hope he doesn't share my name. Why? Because you're afraid. And I get it. But it says in the Bible, you're just not supposed to be afraid of man. You're not supposed to be afraid of me. You're not supposed to be afraid of man and what people think of you. You're supposed to be afraid of God. This is what the Bible says. Fear God, not man. Urgh. It's not hard. It's not brain surgery. It's not rocket science, right? Urgh. Anyways, hopefully this has been interesting to you and you'll share it with other people. Have an amazing day. Bye.